The meeting of the Somerville Planning Board for September 10th, 2025 will please come to order. Adequate notice of this meeting, as required by the Open Public Meeting Act, has been provided. A copy of the notice specifying the date, time, and location was 1, published to the Courier News, 2, posted on the bulletin board outside of Borough Hall, 3, posted to the municipal website, and 4, given to the clerk administrator. This meeting is a judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to the issues the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and the decorum appropriate to judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Roll call.
Andrea Dare.
Here.
Chris Addicks.
Here.
Art Akins.
Here.
Larry Cleveland.
Here.
Jason Kraska.
Here.
John Manilio.
Here.
Barry Van Horn is excused. Mayor Gallagher.
Here.
Councilmember Vroom.
Here.
Chairperson Warner.
Here. Please stand. All right, I need a motion for approval for minutes for from August 27th.
Can we hang on 1 second? We got video issues.
Oh, it's streaming.
The only way to turn these on would be to turn off the camera and turn it back on, which I don't know what that would do.
Is it? You got it there? Yeah. All right,
And
yeah,
it's streaming online.
it is, okay. All right. So that's just our monitors, which we're okay, yeah. That's fine. Yep.
You just made you can't see yourself.
No.
Now you don't know. Now you don't know what he's zooming in on either.
The whole thing is you, Brian.
I'll make a motion for the minutes.
Second.
Larry Cleveland.
Yes.
Jason Kraska.
Yes.
Mayor Gallagher.
Yes.
Chairperson Warner.
Yes. Were we able to get that resolution?
I was not, I just got the transcript, I tried, I just couldn't finish it, so we'll have
All right, so we'll carry that till the next.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on to, we have no hearings, so we're going to move on to pending business. Let's start, Mike, with the West Main Street area redevelopment study we were asked to start.
Thank you. There's a draft copy you all have that lays out the criteria for all the lots. It references the state plan, which it's from 2001, so it's a little dated, but the new state redevelopment plan is just technically not adopted yet. So it's written to the old plan with the caveat saying why it's in the process. The area, most of the area is using a criteria, says smart growth principles. If you look at the photographs, most of the properties are in relatively good shape. So I struggled with this a little bit because a lot of the properties, if you look at the photos and you look at the history and you go through it, are in good shape. So the criteria H says in redevelopment, you boil this down, is you have to have enough sufficient area to generate the nexus needed for the redevelopment area. If you have one small lot, you can't do anything with it, so it defeats the purpose. So that overall principle is the area using criteria H in its entirety is the recommendation. And I think that Colin had a great idea to say that the references and the paragraph that says that besides the Granite's building in the parking lot with that, that the development should be completely at the request of the property owner, being that reflects that, relatively speaking, the area is in good shape, the triangle, with the exception of those 2 parking lots, which are just underutilized. Not saying the parking lots are by themselves, like craters are terrible, they're just not being used.
Right.
So I struggled a little bit because I don't like using the term H, because you can really nitpick that criteria saying smart growth regional center, which is all wonderful. And I don't know if some here remember, many, many years ago, we did a study for Kirby Avenue And the mayor says that we had a photograph showing a dumpster or something and saying a dumpster, and he says, you can't use a dumpster, that's temporary, and I agree with him. So these photographs show the properties in its entirety. I think it's obvious that Granite's building is a challenge with the parking lot, but overall, I think the properties are well maintained. You have the Storms property, which is the property, that going back and spending time on it, was built in the 30s, and there was an addition in the 60s. Now, is the circulation challenging? Yes, from a parking lot. By being there, the virtue of being there 50 years, I think you could say, they're making it work, guys. Is it ideal? Absolutely not. So you'll see a little struggle with me in this. It's clean, it's there, it's boilerplate, but at the end result, my recommendation is to keep the whole block with the caveats that Colin cut through the chase. I was gonna go and I started writing this differently and trying to chop this up a little bit to take some of the housing out that looks good. Yes, it's old housing stock from 1920s. However, you end up with a really, geometrically looking at it, it doesn't work geometrically. It just doesn't work. So it's along me Soapwind saying, the area meets the criteria, but there's a little bit of a struggle, and I think the paragraph from Colin clarifies what exactly we're trying to accomplish here.
So Mike, to that end, because we also had a discussion about those properties are in, good shape. Can you talk about the exclusion of properties that you have in this?
Yeah, the exclusion.
Or I shouldn't even say it's the
It's not
exclusion.
exclusion.
It's the opt-in.
It's the opt-in note that identifies the lot and blocks. And what we're basically saying with the opt-ins, it says that the redevelopment of the properties, which is basically the two-family homes. If you look at the lot and blocks, there's a paragraph in it that says that the owner, it should come from them, not from the borough, because the properties are well maintained. They're not an urban blight, an old term being used. So that comment in that paragraph reflects that criteria, or that acknowledgement that these properties are overall well maintained.
And just to make sure, I'm looking at page 10, the last paragraph right before section 4, where it says additionally, we recommend with the exception of, that's what you're talking about, Mike?
Correct.
Okay.
And you see the photographs, and the H is applicable, but for all the reasons already said, I think it's there, and it allows the flexibility, and it accomplishes what I think the intent is, but it clearly demonstrates or articulates that properties are well maintained, the ones that the majority of.
But I think it also, on the other flip side, it gives the property owner more flexibility of if they do deem that they want to be a part of it, they can.
Right, and it's a non-condemnation, which means the borough is not going to condemn. It's been the borough policy
Yeah.
for a million years not to condemn properties, so.
So it
it's-
really doesn't change what the
It
normal
doesn't
course of
change
action would be
anything, but if
anyway.
I was a property owner, the language, I think, and I think Colin nailed it with that paragraph, states that it's just at their own benefit, should they want to.
Should they want to.
Consolidate the properties to move forward. So, there's two.
Yeah, it potentially could add value to the property.
That's what
It
I'm saying.
adds
I think
value
it's a
because it
benefit.
adds flexibility.
Yeah.
And that being said,
You want to articulate what those blocks and lots are, so that because I know we have some public here, just so that they're,
absolutely. Let me get back to 10.
Specifically to the east of New Street,
Yes, it's
the
the,
exception of the parking
West.
lot.
So it would be
to
blocks.
the west.
Yeah,
West.
124
right,
and lots 2.01, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
correct. That is essentially, Colin is correct, it's the properties toward the west of Noon Street, with the exception of the parking lot, which is the weird shape that's associated
Yeah.
with the Grants building that sits on the corner of Vets, which is part of the Grants. My understanding they're both tied together. So that parking lot has been used in the past for overflow parking. So with the exception of those, that's what that exception is. Everything to the west of New Street, there's a parking lot that's just not used. It's underutilized. And then you have the group home that was built 2004, 2003, the 3-story on the corner.
Yeah.
And if you just walk up the block and you take a look at what's going on, they're all well maintained. Some of them, most of them are from the 1920s. However, there is a professional building. There was a tear down, I think, in the 90s. That there's a corner marker that says, I can get you the lot and block, that says Kerwin, I think Mike Kerwin's father, I think, did the development on that. So there is some properties there which are newer. I think the surface parking lot that I was referring to is from the 90s too. So you have the two families are essentially from the 1920s, and you have the group home, let's say it's 2003, which is it's 3 stories. It's not in bad shape, and so you have, generally speaking, that area, that triangle, is in relatively good shape.
Okay.
So, and I hope that reflects it in the study. That is what the intent is. The intent is to give them flexibility, as the mayor had said, and really to address the Grants facility, the Grants building, and their parking lot. If that's long-winded, but I think I have to give a little color here that,
Yeah.
yes, it's an H, yes, I think it meets the criteria. However, and that's where the hook is, the however.
However. Any questions from the board?
It is
Okay.
pretty cut and dry. So the only thing I would ask, Mike, is on page 19, where you have the Granite's building. It says the building is currently vacant and the layout of both the offices. I would just put in there, how long has it been vacant? I think that's valuable information.
At least 5 years.
3 years.
3 years?
Minimum.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's, because 3 years was the height of COVID, so I think it was,
I think it's farther than that, but
Yeah.
I can certainly put the history and,
yeah, yeah. I think that's important information to have in this type of document.
All right, Kara, procedurally, we need to have set a date for a public hearing on this.
Correct.
Well, is it a public hearing, or does it get referred to council?
We have to have a public hearing first, yeah. So I think we also have to meet the minimum of, what, 2 weeks?
So it has to be published 2 weeks prior, once each week.
Okay.
And the second publication has to be at least 10 days prior to the actual hearing date.
So I think we are, at the earliest we said would be, the earliest we could do would be the October 8th meeting.
Correct.
In a minute, I just want to, do we have anything on the 8th?
We currently do not, but we'd have to check with the Courier News as far as when they can post it, because if we can't get it posted in 4 days, then I don't think we'd be able to make the 2 weeks.
So what if we just pushed out to the next meeting? Do we have, I know we have one.
We have nothing scheduled
Nothing
for
on
the
that one,
24th
right?
either, yeah.
So I think to be safe, we push it out to the second meeting in October, that we can guarantee that no matter what, the publishing can get taken
Yep.
care of with no issues.
And we do need to get a list of all property owners within
Yeah.
that area.
And that gives
too.
enough time to do
Which-
all that too.
We wouldn't be able to get until Friday either
Okay.
from Brett, because that's when he comes in.
So what is the 22nd?
I think it's the 24th is the second.
24th, yes.
22nd.
Oh, so,
You're
22nd.
correct, yes, 22nd.
I
Sorry
don't
about that.
typically
Yeah.
come to planning board on Friday
Sorry
nights.
about that.
Ryan, you'll be here on that Friday by yourself, sorry.
Nobody wants to hang out with me?
It'll be a quick
I
meeting.
have a question.
Sure, good.
Along with the date that the mayor's talking about, like how long it's been vacant, should there be a slight discussion about there's been some interest in changing it or moving it or making it different?
I don't know if that's
or-
really appropriate for this document or more of a conversational thing, but
No, I'm just curious whether or not we do mention that or not.
Yeah,
There's been
well,
some feelers, but it did.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's appropriate. I think we, we move
Yeah,
on of why we feel this is an area of need, period.
Yep.
Okay, just making sure, thank you.
And to reflect the comment that the properties to the west of New Street, I think that should the board declare a scenario, I think the redevelopment plan can reflect that.
Yeah.
So it'd be articulated in the redevelopment plan, the base zoning, the current zoning, should the planning board want to say that, is still applicable, and we can clarify this issue, that it's the flexibility for the property owner. I think that clarifies it in the redevelopment plan, once, should the board declare the area in need of redevelopment council.
All right, so 10:24 will be the public meeting, and then we'll, 10:22. Ryan,
Sorry, I was looking at the wrong month. I'm sorry.
It'll be the three of us here.
Yeah,
10:22, October 22nd will be the public hearing, and we'll start all noticing as soon as,
yeah.
this week, as soon as we can, and then get them all in.
Do you want me to put that draft notice together, or you want redevelopment council to do that?
I don't, yeah, please. Specifically on this, and this isn't a public hearing on this, but I want to open it up to the public if anybody out there has any comment or questions specifically as to this redevelopment plan. Okay, hearing none, I'll close public specifically for that. All right, next item, hold on, I go back to my agenda here. Floor area ratio, FAR. Mike, you're up again.
Oh, thank you.
Plain language, Mike, plain language,
Plain
please.
language, there's some documents you have, a historic from 1953 from American Planning Association. You have something from Rhode Island, just to give you something, a snapshot, just for easy reading, one page.
Page 5 is key, because it gives diagrams that are
Right.
understandable.
And I think the diagrams speak for themselves about what floor area ratio is. And it basically limits the size of the structure or the square footage in relation to the lot. It's really a reflection on small lots is to have something that matches the fabric of the community as opposed to, and I think the Rhode Island summed it up saying they were having tear downs and having cottages replaced with 3-story monsters, and that's what's reflected. So that's what the floor area ratio is all about, is to make the size of the structure in keeping with the lot, the proportions there. And whether it's 0.2, but I'll use percentages, 20%, 15%. As you see in communities with very large lots, you'll see FAR is much going down because the lots are so large. Acre lot, what have you. In Somerville, the lots are relatively, it's a compact community, so the FAR numbers are higher, and it's a number that's whatever is comfortable with the borough, the planning board, and the council, what those numbers should be in the zone, if they want to control.
And currently, where are we at right now? What is it currently?
It varies on the zones, and the one here is 0.25 or 25% in professional office. And the question was, well, what size is the lots? And I was talking to Ryan about this, and the lots are all over the place. You have some lots are smaller than 10,000. You have the bulk standard saying that the minimum size is 10,000. So the analysis showing it's 2,000 on 10,000 square foot lots, 2,500. If it's 25 FAR, it's 30. It's 3,000.
So this is specifically that we're looking for the POR zone, just to be clear.
My understanding, yes. So I just gave you the bulk standards, and Schedule B says the minimum lot size in the POR. Yes, there are lots bigger than 10,000. That's the minimum size. There's lots that are double that. But just for the analysis purposes, the lot size of 10,000 was used. And then it's simple math saying 20% of that, 25%, 30%, 35%. It's just 35% of 10,000 would be the size of the building.
And this ties in, just so everybody on the board kind of understands too, this ties into, some of those discussions that we just had conversations about impervious surface,
Yeah.
Pre-existing conditions. and restrictions that are on some of these new homeowners who have now taken over the property, bought the property, want to transform that property. With some of these restrictions, they're not able to do what they want to do or need to do to really continue to rehabilitate that area and keep it in with the growth of Somerville. So one of the suggestions was increasing this from 25% to 30%, allowing a little bit more flexibility, whether it is going up or out a little bit, but it does allow them to improve that property and improve that structure in the POR so that they can do what they need to do without being penalized, really, and having to go for a variance of some sort. And again, that's stressing, it's the POR zone right now. I think we've, from the board's perspective, we've seen this area as an area that needs to be updated in our standards. And, so we're looking for some feel on what we feel as a recommendation to go to council to say we want to get this changed from 25 to 30%. And I think the numbering is, enough to allow that flexibility and allow for some of those improvements that want to get done, but not opening up floodgates where we have, to your point, a five-story building all of a sudden is allowed on in the POR.
And it's just for the board to recall that the plan is, and the mayor's plan was, that we're gonna look at the land use in its entirety. We're gonna look at residential zones, we're gonna look at improvement coverage, we're gonna look at everything. But there appears to be a pressing need to address the POR right now. That's why it's being singled out as opposed to the rest of the zones. I just want to make that distinction that my understanding is this board will be looking at the bulk standards throughout the borough.
Absolutely.
So this is just the first step.
We're seeing most of the pressing issues
Just like
right
the
now.
change of use. The change of use, as the board recalls, it's in front of the council right now, that tweak was to address something that was felt to be glaring.
Yeah, my understanding is, and I wasn't at the meeting, I was away at the last council meeting, or the one previous to that, that there is an appetite to address FAR in particular, and also to, to alleviate this from 25 to 30%.
Yeah.
Fair enough assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I know that I missed the last time that we had this discussion. But I think being able to use the usable space in an already existing structure is something that not only obviously was addressed with what's in front of council right now, but the reverse. So for residential and also for, office space, if you have it, we're not talking about adding, we're talking about being able to utilize what you have
In a safe manner.
in a safe manner, absolutely.
Correct. It still doesn't, you still have to follow all codes and everything else
Absolutely.
with it, but you can use the space you have existing. I have no issue with going from the 25 to the 30.
Any other comments or
1.25.
questions from the board?
I just have, so the definition of floor area, looking at the ordinance. So for residential, is it the same as commercial, or is it different?
Same.
Same. So that includes basement area, or?
The basement draws, there's a paragraph, John, as you are aware, in the ordinance that talks about 7 feet, which in my opinion goes back to the UCC. There is that paragraph should be clarified because it's, in my opinion, confusing, John. The attic, it says clearly, but this is the basement, the floor area ratio is counted for areas above 7 feet, which in my opinion, when we look at the land use in its entirety, we should drill down on that issue, exactly what we mean in the basements with parking. The 7 feet, so the board knows, is the UCC requirement that if it's new construction, you gotta have a ceiling height. And some of the rehab goes down to it, but dealing with this, if you don't have the 7 feet, my understanding is you can still get a construction permit if you wanted to finish an existing building. So I think we should drill, in my opinion, look at that, John.
Yeah, so my question is, maybe we look at the definition as well, so maybe there's space that could be utilized, like the basement, that is counted as floor area now, but if it's, a basement, it shouldn't be counted as floor area.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, you look back and the old model of a home is you don't use the attic other than storage, and you don't use the basement other than storage, and that doesn't work anymore. I do understand from the safety side of things, though, the parameters of having bedrooms in a basement or
Yes,
in an
that's
attic, and those are things I think we need to address through the code as well.
Yeah, there's windowless stories, but John, to your point, I think maybe later this year, if not later this year, it'd be early next year, to really look at the land use ordinance to address all these definitions, windowless stories, to make sure that the bulk standards, the bulk side yard setback, front yard setbacks, improvement coverage reflects where the community is going. It's on my radar. I know it's on the planning board's radar. I just view this as a stopgap to address the glaring issues that's coming up in the last few months.
All right, I need a motion.
A recommendation to send up to council to change it from .25 to .3 for FAR in the POR zone only.
Second.
Andrea Dare,
Yes.
Chris Addicks.
Yes.
Art Akins,
Yes.
Larry Cleveland,
Yes.
Jason Kraska,
Yes.
John Manilio,
Yes.
Mayor Gallagher.
Yes.
Councilmember Vroom,
Yes.
Chairperson Werner.
Yes. All right, moving on to the B5 zone along Route 22. This was something that council, at the last meeting, was asking us to look at. Anybody have any, a little bit more insight for us?
I do. So it rests on the definition of, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, education in a zone. So apparently there was an application for an AI school, if you will, on Route 22. So if you look around, you know, you have Kumon Math opening up, you have all these different types of not necessarily education, but, you know, enhanced personal growth, whatever you want to call them. Some of it's up to interpretation. And it was a great use on Route 22, and they were denied because they considered them an educational business. And so they went away. But there will be more to come. It was a good use. The interpretation of what that use was, I think, met with some discussion. Is that a good word? Yes.
How come it wasn't a variance? Board of Adjustment.
Because the business didn't want to. They could find somewhere else to go that would take them. So it really came down to, you know, what's the definition? So what we're doing is looking at the idea of allowing that type of business to go on Route 22, which we think is a good use. So that's it.
Mike, can you send us, so that we can discuss it at the next meeting, on what is allowed currently in the B5?
Yeah. Yeah, I think what the mayor's getting at, and I think most here, retail is a challenge in this atmosphere. So the concern or the need is to try to address it so we don't have vacant storefronts that should be used, a more productive use. So that's what.
Yeah, and you know, what is the market demanding?
Yeah.
You know, what businesses are looking for space, because they're, you know, with the internet and AI, it's all changing.
Within reason.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do think it's a good opportunity for us to, especially on Route 22, with this ever-changing market, to really look at
Yeah.
what we want to draw and what we don't want to draw there. But to the mayor's point, allowing some uses that were probably never thought of in the last 20 years until now. So,
Right.
And defining those uses.
yeah.
Defining those uses and the ability to take a step back and say, is this a good thing for Somerville? That business. And if we have that as kind of like the overarcher, as we look at our zoning, as we update our zoning, or if we're interpreting our zoning, that to me is the principle that all of us, council, and Borough Hall need to look at when we start to have these types of applications come in. If it's a good thing for Somerville, then we have to look at the zoning, and if there is an adaptation to it, then allow it. If there is not, exactly what we're doing here, then we bring it to the planning board, and let's fix, or I shouldn't say fix, let's expand it to meet the needs of the consuming public.
Yeah. All right, so we will resume that conversation next.
I will have Schedule A for the board members to start to look at. That's where it has all the uses, permitted uses. And The borough is light and day above most municipalities, is it uses a North American classification system. So we're capable of drilling down very easily using that classification. It's the standard industrial classification is the update to that. So there's reams of information to clarify the uses without reinventing the wheel on all these definitions.
Go ahead, Larry.
Should we be looking at other business zones also to allow this or change that? The B5 is because we got
Well, we
caught.
will.
Yeah.
I think right now we focus on, and I'm gonna have that
One at a
conversation, I'm
time?
gonna go into that conversation next. But I think for right now, let's focus on some of the ones that we know are pressing, so that we don't delay the pressing ones, because we have a tendency to tie ourselves up in knots.
Let's
and say-
let's fix the bigger to the detriment of the
Yes,
littler.
which is gonna, I'm leading into my next part of my conversation. All right, any other questions for the B5 right now? All right, so moving on to redevelopment plans, master plan and zoning, tying into, I just wanted to say that is why the planning board, these discussions, whether it's floor area ratio or the B5 zone, this is why the planning board had stated at the beginning of this year that we would be looking at all of our redevelopment plans, updating and looking at our master plan as well as all the zoning. So right now, I know you see a lot of piecemealing, but that is because we have the pressing matters we want to, but we will be looking at, to Larry's point, we will be looking at everything. That schedule that I gave you kind of allows us to have some flexibility, which I think we haven't changed or adjusted that schedule much yet. But it shows you that how we're doing things consecutively, but allowing us not to be overwhelmed and get tied up where we can't move forward on instances like this. So, making it clear to everybody, to include the public, we will be looking at everything. It's not gonna be by the end of this year, but we have it's, in my opinion, still a pretty robust schedule that we've put together, that within the next year, we will have gone through everything and have some major updates and adjustments, allowing for things that, like I said before, weren't thought of 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, and it's time to update everything within Somerville. So we will get there. It is a very good point, Larry, but right now, we want to focus on those that are pressing and keeping us, and getting some guidance from Borough Council and the administration there so that we can address some immediate needs for residents and businesses. Last but not least, the Improvement Coverage Subcommittee. My question on this one is, I know we came to a resolution. We brought up decks, came up. I know pools is still an issue that we have to address. And we did do the change of use where they're not penalized anymore on the POR and in the certain residential zones on that change of use, and then they're already out of compliance based on that change of use. So we've addressed those. Pools obviously still needs to be addressed. Is it appropriate to send it to the committee, or is it something that we should be bringing back here to the board for us to decide how we're going to move forward and maybe be able to come up with some recommendations for that pool? I don't want to forget the pool issue, because it is a resident issue that's come up. And then in addition to that, what else we should be looking at as it relates specifically to some of those issues that have been brought forth to us.
My feeling is that maybe we should just, because the council was fairly clear in that they didn't want to address the pool issue. So I think as we address the overall zoning, that's when we can kind of resurrect that discussion.
Okay.
Because there may be things within that we can tweak to make it more palatable for council to consider.
So then on the record, I am relieving the subcommittee of their, where I won't ask every meeting where we're at, because I think we have addressed. John just was like, thank God. But that's why I wanted to have a conversation. Are there any open pressing issues that we really needed to continue to have the subcommittee look at? And I feel the same way, but I wanted to make sure that everybody's in agreement that these issues will now be brought up through other issues that we're going to come forth, whether it's, something specifically from council and or as we're going through each of the different areas of redevelopment, master plan, or zoning. Okay, that is it for pending business discussion items. ARB approvals. You're gonna see sidewalk cafes are a huge thing for us right now. Full disclosure, we did just have a meeting on sidewalk cafes. We are gonna be trying to make some adjustments to make it a little bit more clearly defined what is allowed, what is not allowed. But we have been getting a lot of them. So we did approve 150 West Main Street, 92 West Main Street, 24 West Main Street, and 24 East Main Street. All were approved for their sidewalk cafes. And just so that everybody's clear, a sidewalk cafe is not supposed to be in existence unless they have an approval on record. If they don't, that is where code enforcement gets involved. It doesn't come here, it's code enforcement, okay?
Yeah.
And then we did look at some sign issues for 30 East Main, 147 to 195, and then 41 West Main. And those were just sign, very simplistic, met the intention within the SID, and those were approved. So that's just for the disclosures, just for full transparency of, we have had quite a bit, but some of these applications for the sidewalk cafes have led us to say that we might need to update some of that. So we may see some recommendations coming that need to be adjusted.
So the ARB approvals on the sidewalk cafes, I don't think we need to see those.
No, it's a
But I think
sidewalk.
for the signage, I still would like to see, even
Yeah,
if
I
they
thought,
So,
I didn't see them in this one. Normally, they're in the package.
Yeah, normally I do send them out, but
It's
there were
okay.
so many this time I didn't include them, but I can send them all out tomorrow morning for
Please.
you
Yeah,
guys.
just so that you guys can see them, because that is the purpose of why we're doing it, so that you can see the signs.
I kind of think that we should see sidewalk cafes, because I'd like to see what they proposed to the reality.
That's not our job. That's,
Well,
that's,
then whose job is it to
Code
enforce?
enforcement, that's why I was
That-
stressing
No,
that.
that's why I'm asking the
There-
question, if there's a problem, so they proposed.
there's an existing code.
Right.
And if they're not compliant, they're better compliant this year than they were last year. And I'll be honest, it's a fine balance we walk in trying to encourage outdoor dining, being hospitable to the store owners, the restaurant owners. I think they're doing a much better job this year than they were last year, and that's partly due to code enforcement monitoring not only at the beginning of the season, but during the season. So the code is there for us to monitor it. We're overstepping our bounds.
No, I understand what you're saying. My concern is, and it comes from discussions at the Environmental Commission also, and just in general, that people can be incensed that they can't simply walk down the street. So just because business, whatever, does this, it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that it's applicable or real. So enforcement becomes, nobody wants to be daddy. Nobody wants to start to shut the party down. But if they have two tables that are in the wrong spot, somebody should go, hey, you, move those two tables. Otherwise, we're calling code enforcement.
Well, that is a job for code enforcement, and it's
All right,
not a
then-
job for the planning board to
No,
go
no, no,
out
I certainly
and-
understand that. I'm
and
just
say,
concerned.
you know what, I got my tape measure and I'm doing, you can't do that. That's
No,
overstepping.
there-
So,
But there's gotta be
so-
some sort of balance, because there hasn't been a balance.
there-
I
in 50
think that's gotta
years.
just be a direct
So-
call to code enforcement.
so in addition to code enforcement, we've also gone, and on the southern side of Main Street, all of the planter grates are gone.
Yes,
They're gone. Which has created, I shouldn't say exacerbated, it's showing the bad shape that those pavers are in from tree roots.
have you gotten
And-
any word back from Morristown
and-
about that soft?
Fill
in?
Yeah, Kevin looked into it. I don't know any further on that. It has its issues because I don't know that it's as permeable as people think it is, which may be a very big issue for the trees, especially the street trees, because everything else around it's concrete.
Right.
I know so that's being looked into. But it doesn't solve the problem of the pavers. So I know DPW's been out there, and actually, sorry, I shouldn't say DPW. DSA has actually hired somebody to fix some of the very, very bad problem areas. But they're quick fixes. They're not permanent fixes.
Yeah,
So once,
shade and bricks and things like that.
So,
Shade
well,
and Roots.
yeah, so, but we have to. There was I got a complaint last week, a woman nearly, she tripped on one of the paver stones and had a 3-month-old in a front pack and came this close to falling. That's a problem. So these are things that are going to be addressed. And I've said it before, safety of people walking downtown is the primary. It's not to say trees aren't important. I love them, but the primary is to make sure that people have a safe passage, as you agree. They need to be able to have a safe passage through, well, they have to need a safe passage over as well.
Yeah.
So, it has to be, we have to take a good aggressive look at this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Moving on, I have no extra comments. I will open up the meeting to the public for any comment or questions.
Me.
Reluctantly, yes, please.
Love you too.
Could you please state your name
When
and
you
address for
started
the record?
your-
Could you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Colin Driver,
Thank you.
25 West End Avenue, Somerville.
Well, are you speaking on behalf of the borough, or are you speaking on,
I'm speaking on behalf of the borough.
okay.
When we started the studies of redevelopment plans, zoning and everything else, the mayor required us to bring in outside experts. And I'm here to remind you, you'll be getting an email probably tomorrow, that October the 6th council meeting, we're bringing in a gentleman by the name of Jeff Otto. He is at least renowned in this state as an economist and a retail/residential expert who has the ability to predict, based on economics and statistics, what the future market looks like. And the mayor asked us to bring him in, as we did the gentleman from Rutgers, to tell us what he believes the future will be, so we can consider that when we're doing the plans. I thought this was a good time to say it, because I get sick of sitting down there yelling at you. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
I don't think the yelling will stop, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
And that's October 6th at the council meeting
Yes,
at
So-
6 PM.
correct.
And just for the board's edification, those that have been on the board for a while,
Sorry, 7 PM. Public session
public
starts
session's
at
at 7.
See, that's,
6 is executive, yeah.
So we'd be waiting a long time to be.
Yes, you would.
Okay. So, but for those that have been on the board for a while, this is, Otto is who we heard the last time we actually did an update. Yeah, it was phenomenal. If you can attend, I highly recommend it. It was pivotal in us completing and finalizing and fine-tuning a lot of our plans. So I do highly recommend if you can. For those that are new, you will not be, what's the word I'm looking for?
Disappointed.
Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. But you will not be disappointed. And that goes for the public too. It's that you should come or at least be able to watch it if you can, because he is renowned for what he does, and it has been extremely valuable to this borough.
So 10 years ago, he spoke a lot about service-based industries, restaurants, advised that this new generation, I think, ate dinner, was it 26 nights out a month? That's what I said. It's a big wow. So, he's tuned into what is next up and coming. That was 10 years ago, and guess what we have? Service-based business and restaurants. So it's going to be very interesting to see, where he sees main streets in New Jersey going over the course of the next 10 or 15 years.
And he had a lot of insight also on that type of housing market and how that was, transient was not really something a lot of people were looking at, and he really stressed at that time that is where it was going. And that confirmed a lot of some of our, I don't want to say uneasy, but we weren't sure. We thought, and that really confirmed the direction we were moving in certain things. So we're hoping for some of that insight as well, because what is the next housing stock market, stock that we should be looking at that we haven't really looked at, and as it's based on, to the mayor's point, of what is up and coming and where does he see that going. So from the commercial standpoint as well as the residential standpoint, you know, I would highly recommend if you can go, please go, so. Anybody else from the public? Yes, sir.
Ladies first.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, how are you? My name is Christina Duncan. I'm the owner of 4 East Cliff Street in Somerville here. And I don't know what's allowed, what's not allowed. I just have a question. So I'm in the POR zone. I have a business, and I'm just trying to understand, because we have an attic, and what the height, I guess there's an issue with height requirements is what I'm understanding at this point too. So just trying to understand that and understanding the board's position. I know everything's being reevaluated, but we have an open, unfinished attic that is going to be losing heat in the next couple months, so I'm a little concerned, to say the least.
So, do you want to start?
Well,
heard
I think
you do
it's,
the-
yeah, it's, I mean, we have a meeting set up for tomorrow, and that's
I
one of
know.
the items that's going to be addressed.
I
And
know.
it's probably better to address it in that meeting.
That's fine.
It's more appropriate, because the board
Yeah.
really doesn't have, I mean, ultimately, they make the recommendation to council for the zoning requirements.
That's fine.
But they don't control those, you know, they're not the enforcement side of it.
That's fine. I just figured I'd ask to
Yes.
understand. But thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Yes, sir. I know.
That's not even a compliment.
Nope.
Rich O'Neill, 124 West Cliff Street, Somerville. Would you guys hold Larry down? I got to say something.
Oh, boy.
There's only one solution to Main Street trees. Remove what's there and buy large pots and have potted trees. Because the trees compete with the utilities, they compete with the sidewalks, and the trees win. And our sidewalks are a mess, have been for the last 15 years. There's no way you can keep up with it. It's expensive. Fix them once, get large pots, put ornamental trees in there. You can change them, you can move them, you can do a lot of things, and they don't damage the sidewalks, they don't interfere with people's signs, and they don't stick in windows. I mean, I think you got to address the issue. When I was a kid, there were no trees on Main Street. Nobody thought about it. And then there was a planting, then there's been a second planting and kind of a third planting. And they always end up the same way. They damage the sidewalks and they create problems with the utilities. It's an ongoing problem. And we all know government cannot keep up with ongoing problems. I've said this many times. Government doesn't fix anything. It waits till it's all damaged and broken and then go into a big program, cut the ribbon, get the picture taken, and walk away and forget it. So just think about pots. You okay, Larry?
No. No, the reason why is because maybe 10 or 12 years ago, there was a proposal to do just what you said. They talked about it up in Jersey City, and they did a clear cut on Columbus Avenue, I think, in Jersey City.
I'm familiar with it.
And they went in and they took everything out. The reason why our town is so nice and our downtown is so beautiful is because we don't do a clear cut. If we do a clear cut, you and I both won't be here to see the benefit of it. I can guarantee you.
You're correct, except if you put in trees in a pot. We'll see them the next year.
No, but if they're gonna do that, and we've talked about this for the last 10 to 12 years, and we still haven't done it. We still haven't gone in and say, we're gonna replace that tree. We're gonna take a tree out and make a plan with the utilities to do the right thing. Put it in the right way, use the engineered soils, dig it deep enough, all these things, tree grates and everything. We still haven't done it, and it's been 12 years or more. So clear cutting sounds nice, but it just decimates the town.
Strangely enough, I know we can't get into a dialogue. I'm talking to the mayor.
Sorry.
But you just exactly verified what I said. Government doesn't take care of anything. 12 years ago, they were going to do it. Still going to do it.
No, we stopped them from doing it. That was the entire point.
That is the point.
That's the entire point, that we slowed them down to say, let's think about this and do it the right way. When Tom Genova was here, we had a discussion and we had a plan and we were gonna do it, but it didn't work out and it just fell apart, and it's been ever since one upheaval after another. This is like war. No, we're not gonna just cut down the trees willy-nilly because it's cheaper. That's not the point of a tree. It's not just cheaper, it's something that makes a difference for cooling in the town, for beauty in the town, and Other towns have trees, and they can seem to work around it. Morristown, Cranford, Westfield, all the towns that we're aspiring to be, we're number 4 behind them.
Oh, no, we're number 1, they're behind
are
us.
number
I
one.
agree.
Well, no, we are, but you know what I mean. Every time they do a survey, it's always Westfield and it's always Cranford. Well, we're right there, but they have trees in their downtown and they take care of them. We should make a concerted effort. If we're gonna do that, then we have to really do it, and that means taking the time to do it the right way. Clear cutting is a disaster. That is unacceptable, and I can assure you that if there's a plan to do that, that will be 150 people in this room screaming. Or we can plan it out the right way.
The right way is to get rid of the trees, but we'll have that conversation some other night.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone?
I just want to clarify, there has never been, nor will there ever be while I'm sitting in that seat, a clear cut of the trees on Main Street. 12 years ago, it was never a plan. It was actually a phased planting of trees that were dying. It was over the course of 10 years we wanted to do it. And it met with a lot of friction. And I can tell you every iteration after that has met with a lot of friction. The borough and the DSA were ready to move forward, and each time we were ready to move forward, there were other folks in environmental who created some friction, and it dropped. Those are the facts. Will there be a tree renewal plan? Yeah, there will be. And it's going to take time, and it may just be a natural progression. When that tree is no longer viable, which is happening right now, we are in the midst of taking some trees down because they're no longer viable, then we'll replant. When we have trees that have upheaved the sidewalks so much that it creates an extremely dangerous area for people to walk in, they're going to be removed. That's the way it is. So there was never a plan to clear cut trees. Never. At least maybe in the 6-year gap I wasn't here, but during my tenure,
This was a while ago, and
during my tenure, there was never a clear cut plan, ever.
you know I've been dealing with this, with you and without you.
Absolutely.
For years, so that's why I'm a little.
Larry, I was on that tree committee, and I remember, and the mayor's right, we did come up with a really good phasing of a plan, and
Which we all agreed on.
which we did.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it got.
Gotta get funded.
It,
Gotta
no, it got
I had to
blown up.
walk up and down Main Street, I can't tell you how many times, and
I've
measure
been right
trees,
there with
and,
you.
yes.
Oh, I certainly understand. There has to be a better way to accomplish what Rich is talking about to make it better. To talk about what the mayor's doing to make it safer, without just blasting through. We don't wanna destroy the beauty that we have. We have ways to do it.
We're not going to. And,
Right.
because I don't want anybody walking away from this meeting or anybody on TV going, oh my God, they're going to clear cut Main Street.
No.
Not the case.
Right.
See what you started, Rich?
Before I close public, any other public members? Okay, we'll close public session. Motion to adjourn.
I have one more.
Go ahead, Mike.
Sorry.
I tried to get it in before.
I know, just real quick, all the elements of the master plan went to the various committees. That was emailed out. Thank you, Jason. Jason provided me the contacts, and Ryan, of the different, the Environmental Commission, Recreation, who should be getting the elements. The elements went all out, and with the response came back from the Environmental Commission requesting additional time. In the email, I said, please have comments back by October 15th. They requested November 1st. So we do have Environmental Commission responding, and there's some dialogue on the stormwater ordinance, but just.
Larry, do you have any insight as to why they would need beyond October date?
Our next meeting is not until like 2 days before, so we were talking about, we just had a meeting yesterday.
It's a timing issue.
All right,
Well,
so
it's just that it'll be like 4 days between when we.
that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, and so that's why we're saying. if
I
we
will
go
work
to-
with Colin on readjusting slightly, because if we allow that, it throws off our schedule. So,
Right, so right now, we just talked about it last night. We're looking at it. We're gonna have responses back so that they can cobble together what we want to talk about and talk about the things that we have already submitted, the redlining on the other, one of the reports that's missing, that kind of thing, and then that's why.
No, it's a legitimate reason. That was just, I couldn't really get a straight answer from anybody.
Just that timing comes up
Yeah.
slightly off.
Okay. All right, so
If it's that
I'll
critical, we
talk
gotta
to
do
Mike
what we
and
gotta do.
Colin about just maybe having to readjust that timeline. Not a lot, but maybe it just pushes it out a little bit to allow everybody to have the proper time. Okay. Now a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?